Hello, everyone, and welcome to Black Southern Belle Live. I am so excited that today we are joined by Asheville local Aisha Adams. So I'm going to bring her on and we're going to have a really exciting conversation about heritage, community, and culture. Hi, Aisha. How are you today?
Hi, I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, we're so excited to have you. Well, let's start by why don't you introduce yourself and tell us all who you are and what you do?
So, I'm Aisha Adams. I am the founder of Equity Over Everything and the partner organization, Aisha Adams Media. And what I really do is support leaders, courageous disruptors who are working in organizations to cause social change. I spend a lot of time really empowering leaders and sharing tools and strategies through trainings and workshops and working side by side as a partner.
It's incredible. And you have some amazing organizations in addition to your own media company and Equity Over Everything. So tell us a little bit more about that.
So I basically, a lot of people think I have a lot of companies. I don't have a lot of companies. I do have a empire that I'm trying to grow. You know what I'm saying?
Love it. We love that. We love that. BSB, we love that, don't we?
It really, when you think about what does it take to empower a leader and you think about like lifestyle branding, you start to think, okay, what does that look like? So for me, I partnered with Lenoir-Rhyne University to create the Lenoir-Rhyne Equity and Diversity Institute, which is a certificate program for leaders who want to identify as equity advocates. I really wanted us to have common language and common strategy across our region as we start to think about what does true diversity, equity, and inclusion look like. And so it was just magical a moment that I was able to connect with Lenoir-Rhyne University. And so that to me is like maybe like the start of the funnel. Well, we got to have a good, either podcast or video show. So we created the Asheville View, which is an opportunity. I like to call it a cup of coffee for equity advocates, right? So there are all these people talking about their programs, their resources, how they are doing diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so it's just a really good start to the day to start thinking about how can I be more inclusive? How can we create better community together? And then for fun, I like to blog. So I'm a true crime junkie. I was up till
Uh,
2 o'clock in the morning watching true crime last night. And so I have a podcast called Justice or Nah, which I use to help people who have gone through situations with the criminal justice system when they were guilty to help them start to heal from that process and to share their story. And as a community, we talk about what does justice mean and did this person get justice or not from the incident that happened. So I'm busy all the time, as you can see, but I love my work and I wouldn't have it any other way.
I love that. And speaking of your community work and these amazing things that you're doing for the culture and for community, let's take it back to a smaller scale. So obviously, your own community. So you are coming to us from Asheville, North Carolina,
Yeah.
which is such a historical, heritage fueled city. Tell us a little bit about what it's like living in Asheville, what the vibe there is, a little bit more.
Yes, I gotta shout out my hometown, Birmingham, Alabama. Can't talk about myself without talking about where I was born and bred. But I moved to Asheville, and I've made Asheville my home, and I'm so grateful to be here. I think the best thing about Asheville is the lush green mountains and the hiking. And then the access to food. So let's first talk about the hiking. Let's talk about the
I was
hiking.
gonna say, so you're very outdoorsy. I love this.
I am not very outdoorsy, y'all. I am not. Do not let her fool you. But I have a husband who is from the area, and when we first started dating, he would be like, "Let's go for a hike," and I would be like, "Dude, you're not tricking me, right?" Like I took geography. The trees in our backyard are the same trees that we're about to go see. Well, you know, you live, you learn, you mature, and us black Southern
Mhm.
girls gotta do what we gotta do to keep these waists snatched, right? Oh, I took up hiking and I
Love
really like because I'm a city girl, like I lived in Birmingham, I lived in DC, I've lived below the Mason Dixon line. So I've been a Southern Belle my whole life, right?
born and
So
bred.
the I guess for me, like once I started going out there, I realized like people don't have access to this all the time. Like
Mhm,
I'm just walking out there and I run into horses and people that are riding their horses for fun
mhm.
in the middle of the woods, right? And so it's like just an opportunity. And that's why I feel like Asheville is so special because it was created for reflection. And
Mm,
we know when we do these jobs existing as Black women, that we need a lot of time to like reflect and think about who we are, what
mhm.
our next move is, how do we, you know, function in these systems. Like Asheville is the perfect place to reflect on those things because we got waterfalls.
I mean, that sounds phenomenal. I've seen so many beautiful pictures, and of course, Black Southern Belle did a lot about traveling to Asheville last month, and I'm ready to go and see it, and obviously, of course, meet you in person and
Yeah,
go on a hike together. Let's do this.
exactly. So then we gotta talk about the food because
Oh,
okay, I believe I used to say Birmingham has the best food. So now to say Birmingham has the best fried food,
oh,
right?
you all heard it here. Okay. So,
You're
okay.
gonna get some good fried food. Now it's gonna be delicious. But I came to Asheville and I learned about farm to table.
Mhm.
I learned about organic foods. I learned about, you know, whole foods. And so here there is a plethora of like vegan restaurants. And like we have like James Beard awarded like top restaurants. Uh,
Incredible restaurants there. Yes.
yeah. And so the food is marvelous. It is really marvelous. And the chefs here are really conscious about health.
Mhm.
And so the food is healthy and good, which is something I had not experienced. Like I'm used to the good food being like what's bad for you. So yeah.
I mean, we do love good food that is bad for you, right? But it is always amazing. I mean, yeah, the heritage and the ingredients and how fresh they are, and obviously being in the mountain range, and so all of those ingredients and coming into food, I think that that's amazing. So, community of Asheville, we love it. What would you say? Okay, so obviously outdoor and the food. If there was one or two places that you wanted to tell BSBs watching where they must go and what they must see, what would those? Just a couple. Give us just a couple places.
Gotta go to Black Wall Street. I mean, I feel like in different cities, Black Wall Street is bustling across.
Mhm.
I don't know if you all have checked out the one in Georgia, but it's amazing as well. It's like a whole mall. But here we just our Black Wall Street just got a building. They're about to open up a new building, and they do Saturday morning markets. And it's about 50 Black owned businesses that are coming out sharing their wares. It's women, it's men, it's kids, it's teams, it's partnerships. It's a really beautiful community event, and it's happening all the time. So whenever you come into Asheville, you can check that out. And so the founders of Black Wall Street also own a coffee shop, right? So you can go to coffee. But check this out. If you come to Asheville, you can stay at the Element Hotel and you can work on Black Wall Street if you are a person of color.
Incredible. What an experience, right? I mean, it's something to really cherish. So I'm originally from Oklahoma, so of course we have our Black Wall Street in Tulsa.
Mhm.
That's it's such a vital place in so many cities and locations, and it's so important to continue and to keep that thriving. So I love that, and it's amazing what the community is doing there. I mean, Asheville really has a phenomenal community, and that's a community that you're a part of, and you're doing a lot for.
Yeah, I'm lucky that I get to work with them. This other like thing that I'm interested in now, and I'm not a beer drinker. I've never really been a beer drinker, but we have craft beer here, which is completely different from regular beer. If you've not experienced craft beer, I had one that tastes like a smoothie. the other day. Like,
Ooh,
it was
that sounds dangerous.
delicious. What we have here, which is really unique, is a bunch of women owned breweries, which is really interesting because it really does take on a different dynamic and feel
Mhm.
for how the spaces to me feel and how what they choose to put on tap and how they choose to express what it means to be a brewery. So that is a really great place. Of course, my favorite hiking trail is DuPont Park. Love there. They have about 5 or 6 different routes you can take.
Goodness.
Never get tired of that. And I'm traditional too. Like I like a little class. I like World Park Inn. Like I like their food. I like their services. I like being able to walk around and see other people in the top fashions. It's like my spot. So yeah.
That's incredible. I mean, that city sounds like it has everything to offer. And I love that talking about, Black women, because there's such a rich history of what Black women have done for alcohol. And it's not always shared or addressed or highlighted. And
Right.
truly, with spirits and cocktails, our female ancestors have done a lot to really continue that industry.
And we don't have like any Black owned breweries here, but we have these women owned breweries who are telling the story. So they had
Amazing.
from Maryland who are all like BIPOC brewers, and like they make sure women get scholarships, and they really are bringing Black people into the industry. They brought them in to teach us the history and
Mhm.
to share like this is the gap and here's what we want to do as local business owners to close that gap. So that's another reason why I love Asheville, because I decided to stay here and to settle down because I'm equity minded, and I feel like yeah, we have a lot. We have a lot. We have to do a lot of work, but Asheville is known politically for being one of the first cities to approve reparations and one of the first counties, Buncombe County, to approve reparations. And so we are equity minded community. So when you come here, you're wanted, right? You're not like the added on, what you call like the customary person of color in the group. Like we want people of color here, and we are doing the work to entertain and to sell to and to share in community with.
That's so powerful, Aisha. And to think that, I mean, you really are at the ground level really supporting that movement and creating these spaces and places for those to come together. So that's absolutely incredible. We love that. Now let's dive a little bit into your background. So tell us a little bit about your history and your background, and what led you to this moment here.
Yeah. So my background is I tell everybody if you're into numerology, my birthday is the 22nd of September. And Lamont Rucker, his mom told me that I would be a master teacher. So because of my numerology, and I kind of took that to heart, and I always wanted to be like a college professor or a teacher. So I majored in education, and I was actually recruited to Asheville to teach. Um, Asheville had an equity issue, they had equity problems, and they were working on those problems, and they needed teachers of color to come in to reflect the students who were being taught. So they paid me like an athlete to come here. They recruited me. They got me here. And I worked in the school system for about 3 years. And I just decided that I wasn't making the impact that I would like to make.
Okay.
Along with the fact I had the best day of my life, Tiffany. I broke my neck, my wrist, my leg all at the same time.
Oh my goodness.
So wonderful. It was like an awakening, right? Because it became like a do or die moment. Like,
Yeah,
what are you? So,
that
like,
moment.
really gonna, what are you gonna do? So the next day at the hospital, the nurse was like rolling me into surgery, and I was so excited. I was like, "Girl, can you call my boss and tell her I can't make it to work?" And she was like, "This poor baby does not realize she won't be making it to work a lot of days, right?" And my boss was like, "You got to call us." And I was like, "She does not understand." I was so happy to call in. Like it felt right to call in,
You
and
felt something inside of you.
yeah, and I was like, you know what? I used to wouldn't miss work for the world. I would not want to miss it. And look at me, I'm excited about calling in. Like I screwed the 3 surgeries. Like I don't have to go to work today. So it's like it was just time to make a change. And I decided to start working deeper in community. And instead of working with the kids, I worked with their parents, which was a joy. And I wanted to write. And that's when I learned about Black Southern Belle, actually, when it was kind of first launching. And so I've been a follower this whole time and watching, other women do these wonderful things. And I'm like, okay, so what am I going to do? Like, what am I here to do? What?
The impact?
So,
yeah.
Telling people what they need to do for Black and brown people and for women and for people who are on the margin, like that is sign me up. Sign me up. I love it. I wouldn't trade it for the world. And so I just worked to get here. And I loved teaching and I loved working with parents and I loved working with families. But I realized that we needed to create systems where those parents and those kids were welcome and where they could thrive. And so that's what I do. And I love it.
It's absolutely amazing. I mean, learning more about you and everything that you're doing through all of these various avenues, it really is so powerful. And again, what you're doing on the community level, right, in Asheville, but also, I mean, globally in the impact that you're making, and that there's a ripple effect to that, right? I mean, which is it's so powerful. The connections, and obviously the connections we made through connecting with you through BSB. Outstanding. So tell us what's next. So we've dived into the past, the present. What's the future, Aisha?
So I'm really looking forward to becoming an empty nester next month. So that's really exciting.
Congratulations.
Moving on campus. So y'all know how much we love that campus culture. All the sneaker shoes and, I'm getting him ready for that. And then, people are always asking me like, what do you have planned? And I really like to respond to community need. So what I'm more interested in is what does my community need now? And then how can I be of service? Right. So I've learned like I'm gonna make money, I'm gonna be successful. Like that's just a part of like who I am, and it just comes with being who I am. But the piece that I like to watch out for is my character and like how do I show up for community and how do we build communities, right? So I was always felt like I was the odd person out, or sometimes I didn't feel like I belonged, or sometimes I felt like I couldn't connect. So my main thing is how can we create an environment where we all really do feel like we belong there and we all are getting what we need. So
that's so powerful. That's so impactful. And I think that that's amazing, Aisha. So obviously, for the Bells that are watching and they're inspired by what you're doing, tell me, how can they directly connect with you? And then we'll dive into how can they connect with all of your organizations that you're a part of. But inspired and they maybe want to talk to you, and maybe do you do seminars? Do you do
so normal? Like I am so normal. Just like hit me up on Facebook or hit me up on
which is where we are.
And then I'll direct it to my assistant and she'll connect us. But yeah, I'm on Facebook like every day. I'm on LinkedIn every day. So that's really the best way to connect with me. And you can also just go to the website equityovereverything.org and leave a message. But it's all really normal, y'all. It just comes to my phone. I respond. It's great. It's real normal.
I love it. That's perfect. So now how can we find you on Instagram and Facebook? What are those handles?
Yeah. So you just type in Aisha Johnson Adams. Johnson is my maiden name. Adams is my married name. And I should pop up. And I have so many brands, so you'll see different things, but just connect. I'm happy to have you and to be in community with you.
Perfect. And of course, we'll be sharing Aisha's information. If you haven't read, she did a really great story for us recently about dating Asheville. So if you want more tips and tricks on if you're interested in traveling to the city, and truly, if anyone is interested in visiting Asheville, reach out to Aisha. I'm sure she'd love to meet you or connect or maybe get some coffee or go on a hike.
I
I
definitely will see you on Black Wall Street. I will see you on Black Wall
love
Street. Try to get over there with my friends as much as possible. They got good food. They have, good entertainment. They do the poetry shows. Like they do everything over there.
That's incredible. Well, before we leave here today for our audience, this is something I'm throwing at you we haven't discussed. But what are you reading? What are you watching right now? What's something that is making an impact on your life? Something that maybe we could be reading, watching, or listening to as well.
Yes. So I am watching The First Lady. And it is Viola Davis's her first time producing. So to me, that's really special. But what it does is it chronicles the first lives of first ladies, and it follows Betty Ford, it follows Michelle Obama, and it follows Eleanor Roosevelt. And it has just had a profound effect on me. One of the interesting things, a little Asheville history, Eleanor Roosevelt refused to speak at our YW. She was the first person to integrate the YW because she refused to speak in Asheville unless Black women were invited into the audience. And so for me to understand that about Asheville and then be able to look on television and see her story, it's just super powerful, right? So definitely watching that. And I watch all of like the Black shows, all of them, no matter what the subject matter is, because I'm always excited about seeing us in different roles and like different ways and modalities. Like we don't have to just be one way. So I'm watching all of the powers. I'm watching probably about 40% of stuff Tyler Perry's making. Like I'm watching all of the things because what's exciting to me is the duality and the like complexity of what it means to be Black and how these stories play out. So definitely my TV. In terms of my reading, right now I am working on an article, a peer-reviewed article. So I'm reading like a lot of peer-reviewed stuff like workplace, how to do diversity, equity, inclusion in work groups, like just really boring stuff.
But interesting. I think that that's all amazing. I mean, the Black imagination, creativity, and culture, it's so powerful. And we have to continue to share and tell those stories. And right, Blackness isn't oneness. We have all of our own beautiful, unique, creative stories. And it's so amazing. And really, Aisha, thank you for sharing your story and your voice and for being such an important and vital member of obviously the community in Asheville, but of course the Black and Brown community. We thank you, and thank you all for joining us around the globe to chat. And this will not be the last time that you see Aisha. So we're really excited to have her connecting with us again. Thank you. Thank you all.
Bye.
Bye.